What's going on, everybody? Today we are going to review the Kobolds and Catacombs cards for Hearthstone that have come out so far. I know normally I wait until the end and then do the whole review and all that other stuff, but it seems like we're getting a lot of batches very quickly out this time. So instead of waiting till the very end, I figured I'd do this one, and then at the very end I'd review all of them. So that way we have something to talk about for now, because it seems like we're gonna have most of them come out very soon. And yeah, and also I'm pretty excited about some of these because I feel like a lot of this is going to be. I feel like a lot of these cards are really well thought out, and I've been seeing some reviews that I actually disagree with mostly. So here we go. So first off, we're going to talk about the Lesser Jasper Spellstone. It's a Druid card, and it increases. So basically, all Jasper Spellstones, but all Spellstones in general. Every time you do whatever the little caveat is, so for this one it's gain 3 armor. So every time you gain 3 armor, it'll become like the minor Jasper Spellstone and then the greater Jasper Spellstone. And so it'll deal 2 damage to a minion first, and then it'll deal 4, and then it'll deal 6. And it always costs 1, I believe. So this one is actually pretty good, but some of them are really good, and some of them are like, but we'll see that as we go on. I think that this one might see play, probably. And right now, I think there's that weird Yogg-Saron Druid deck going around right now, the Spell Druid or something, that looks like it's fun. I don't know. I feel like people get bored towards the end of expansions and start doing really, really random stuff. But yeah, so this is pretty good. I feel like it's whatever. I feel like it's a lot better in Arena than it is in Constructed. I think the gain 3 armor to upgrade thing is an interesting little tidbit side note here. But yeah, so overall a meh card. Now we have the Lesser Sapphire Spellstone, which is the Shaman one, and it summons 1 copy of a minion, and then when you overload, it summons 2 copies. I believe it's 2 copies, and then 3 copies, and it always costs 7. And so this is interesting because I feel like when you're summoning 3 copies of a minion, almost no matter what mid-range to above minion it is, 3 copies is going to be more than enough. 2 copies is actually pretty good, and all these Shaman decks kind of have overload. For the most part, you find overload here and there. I think that this is mechanically slow though. 7 mana is a bit late in the game currently, especially when, like, realistically aggro is kind of the king of Hearthstone, and nothing has been shown to really slow that down yet. So, do I think it'll see play? Yeah, somebody will try and make it work, I'm sure. I'm sure there'll be some like weird little janky combos we can do with it. I haven't thought too hard about it. But overall, I feel like this is whatever. I mean, I feel like summoning 3 copies of a card is going to be worth it. So it'll make it into a constructed deck. There will be some deck that does some combo, that does something to make this one of the, this will be one of those things that's like, oh, well, the end of the game now, so, Spellstone, and we're done. But we'll see. Also, by the way, if this is counterspelled, you lose the game, in my opinion. But we'll see. Guild Recruiter. So it's a 2/4 for 5, already trash, and it recruits a minion that costs 4 or less. The or less part is what makes this really, really bad, because so the way Recruit works is it pulls a card out of your deck and slaps it onto the field. So if you are recruiting a card and you accidentally get that Mana Worm or Book or any of your 1-cost minions that you have in the early game, this is still trash, because a 2/4 that brings out a 1/1 or a 1/2 or a 2/1 or even a 2/2. Think about it. A 2/4 that brings out a 2/2 body is not worth 5 at all. I believe there's actually already a 4/4 that brings out a 2/2 body that is for 5 and does not see play. So this card, trash. Rin, the First Disciple. Okay, so what this card does is basically when it dies, it adds the first seal to your hand, and then that summons a bunch of stuff. It summons one thing, then it dies, it summons another thing, then it dies, it summons another thing. And then that card destroys your opponent's deck. And it's too slow. I am beyond positive that somebody will make a deck around this card because of how funny it will be to destroy your opponent's deck. That being said, it is too slow, and it's more of a just for fun card. That's all there is to it. It's a for fun card. There's no... moving on. I don't know. I feel like this was such a waste of an epic slot. Or epic, wow. Legendary slot. This was such a waste of a legendary slot. So everybody's going to be getting a legendary weapon this expansion, and Dragon Soul is the priest's, and so it is a 3-cost weapon that goes on, and after you cast 3 spells in a turn, you summon a 5/5 dragon. That is really good for priest. I feel like this is going to be oozed a lot, and then, but that being said, if you can place this out and get 1 5/5 out with it, it is completely worth it. I actually think this is probably the best weapon I've seen so far. Most likely. I think this is the weapon that will see the most play that I've seen so far in Constructed. Wow. Whatever. But yeah, I can just see so many different things you can do this. I mean, there's the Lyra deck already that includes, you know, a lot of cheap spells that priests can play for free. There's a lot of easy ways to get priest spells off for 1 or 0 mana even. So this, you know, coming along and being a part of priest is just I think it just slots right on it. It's a 3-drop. Priests kind of needed a 3-drop anyway, so this is right up their alley. I love this card. It's another dragon priest, and it adds to that whole thing. So I just yeah, I just think it's ready to go. Lunith, this is the mage one, I believe. And yeah, at the end of your turn, draw 3 cards. Yes, this is a mage one. And what's cool about this is you place it down and then you get to draw the 3 cards. So if you put this in a tempo mage deck and on turn 6 you're like, I need some draw factor, this will give you 3 cards. If this goes off twice, it's amazing. If it doesn't go off twice, it forces them to ooze. It's already turn 6, so they have to play an ooze, and now they're behind some more. This is a great tempo mage card. In other mage deck, I can't see this being in a control mage deck. I just feel like it's not needed. Your hand will get too much. You can, I mean, but as far as like the tempo mage, and I believe there's like a secret mage kind of like on the cusp of being really good. This might be a secret mage card because you can draw your secrets more and get out some more of that. But or you know, you can draw into like the fireballs and pyroblasts and the stuff you need for the end of the game. Firelands portal, stuff like that. So I feel like this is another solid weapon. So far that's 2 for 2 that like you can think of things to do with. Again though, there's still oozes. There's still ways to, I mean, every deck in the whole world right now, every aggro deck in the whole world right now is running those pirates that chip 1 off of your you know, your weapon. There's just so many different ways to get rid of weapons at the moment that I'm really interested to see if this just becomes that meta. But I don't know. In tempo mage just goes off no matter what at least once. Paying 6 to draw 3 cards, is that okay? No. Paying 6 to draw 3 cards and force your opponent to play an ooze on turn 6 or 7. I don't know. See, I think that's where a lot of people forget is that to get rid of this, they have to spend 2 mana. So they can't play on curve. And if you're forcing an opponent to not be able to play on curve, that's something to say. I mean, yeah, it's a 3/2 body or whatever, but but I feel like Tempo Mage can deal with that pretty easily. It's forcing them to not play a taunt. It's forcing them to not board wipe on turn 7. Or you get to have 6 cards, and then you're paying 1 mana per card, and that's wonderful in a Tempo deck. So it's something to think about. Alright, let's move on. The Jailer. So it's a add 3 Silverhand recruits to your hand, and it's a 1/1 for 2. So it's garbage. I'm sorry. The Silverhand recruit thing was... I don't know why they... I don't know. Not worth it. I think it's garbage every which way. Wandering Monster. A Hunter secret. Ooh, secret. Whenever an enemy hero or an enemy attacks a hero, summon a 3-cost minion as a new target. I actually like this. I'm one of those people who actually like Misdirect as a hunter. I feel like control style hunter is actually a thing that we're going to be able to make work this season, and I'm going to show you why soon. Hunter is my favorite class, so I feel like there's a lot of things that you can do with Hunter that's kind of janky and kind of allows you to like manipulate what the board is. The problem is, you know, mid-range Beast Hunter has always been the strongest, but you know, we've hit Legend with a lot of other types of Hunters before. It's just a lot harder. I think that this is a secret that adds to it. If you remember, oh, what was it? The one that summoned Bear Trap was something that was played, so I can see this getting some play. Yeah, so whatever. It's another Hunter secret. It's fun. Add it to the mix. Deal with the wonder. If it summons one of the better 3 costs, it could be something good. If it summons... I mean, there's just a bunch of like random little things this could do that'd be funny. And I'm sure that we'll see some highlights of it being extraordinary for a bit. Kobold Illusionist. Summon a 1/1 copy of a minion from your hand. So this is actually a theme that Rogue is going to see, and you'll see that as we go. And I feel like this is going to see play because of that. And there are going to be decks that are built around things like this. Maybe not high roll decks, but sort of those type of things. I'm actually really interested to see the new version of Rogue that's coming out this season. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and a lot of people are going to play it, and it's going to be kind of crazy. So I think that this is going to be a meta-backed card, which is, you know, a card that sees play during certain meta and then falls away forever. And yeah, I think that's going to be the next season or two that we see it. Unidentified Elixir. So there's this thing where it gains bonus effects while it's in your hand, and so you know it's going to give a minion 2/2, which is already amazing for Arena, by the way. So this is an Arena card. But what it's also going to do is do some other little janky stuff, and I can't really remember what they are off the top of my head, to be perfectly frank. If you want to comment below and tell us, we can have a full conversation about the unidentified stuff below. And that's kind of the best I can do here. But yeah, sorry, making this while away on Thanksgiving, so we're gonna have to go with that. Crushing Walls. Destroy the opponent's left and rightmost minions, but it costs 7, so it'll never see play. Hopefully I'm wrong, but at 7, this is just... It's fun, and it's an inventive way of doing things, and yeah, it destroys 2 minions, but it costs 7. So... Ugh. Gather your party, recruit a minion. So... I have heard murmurs that there are some interesting ways that this will be used to do some really extra janky crap. In a regular deck, this will not see play. In a warrior deck that has all high-end minions, this will see play. Because summoning a 10/10 for 6 mana is really good. Summoning an old god for 6 mana is great. Being able to recruit Any minion that costs 8 or more for a 6 is wonderful. Accidentally summoning an Armorsmith for 6 is garbage. So, you are going to have to build a deck around this. I know for a fact Kriparian will build a deck around this. I hope it works out. I do. I think that this is a fun warrior card. I'm excited to mess with it myself. I know for a fact Kriparian will be doing it. You can quote me. I'm sure he's already said it in his review video. But, yeah. So, I know we're late to the party here, but this is a fun warrior card, and people will build decks around it just to have a good old time with it. When you don't draw this card, though, it's going to be really sad, because the problem is you have to put a bunch of card draw in your deck to get to this card, but then a lot of the card draws minions, so when you're trying to draw cards and you can't do this, and then you recruit, and it's a card draw minion. You wasted the card you've been trying to draw. Yikes. Yep. So, is this a good card? No. Is it a fun card? Hell yeah. Sudden Betrayal. The Rogue Secret. Or one of the Rogue Secrets. When a minion attacks your hero, instead it attacks one of its neighbors. That is hilarious. I think that this is a hilarious card. I'm so excited to see somebody play it. I'm so excited to see somebody go, wait a minute, I don't want to attack with my 1/1, or I don't want to attack with my blah blah. Is it punishable? Yeah, you can punish the crap out of this card if you have a small minion out of the board. But I think it's a cool card. I think it should have maybe been Hunter, and it was like the hound jumping off the leash and attacking its master. I think that'd have been cool. But hooray, Rogue. Cheat Death. When a friendly minion dies, return it to your hand and it costs 2 less. This is awesome. I can't wait to see so many different ways this is played. It's very interesting to say the least, especially with all the 1/1s we're going to be putting out, and then it pop back and make it a card that costs 2 less, so it's not a 1/1 anymore. There's a lot of different little. This is actually a card that I think is going to be played in most rogue decks now, because of the shadow. I'm going to call it a shadow copy meta. That's what I'm now going to call it. Shadow clone meta. Woo! Naruto. Level up. Give your Silverhand recruits +2/+2 and taunt. I'm sure somebody's going to build a Silverhand recruit deck. I'm sure that somebody's going to hit legendary with it. Do I think it's going to be a tier 1 or 2 deck? No, it'll be a tier 3 deck. And everybody's going to keep saying, well, look, we did it. And I'm going to say, oh, that's great. But I'm not convinced of the Silverhand recruit stuff. I'm sorry. It's just not a thing. I don't think it's going to be a thing. I hope I eat my words. I don't think I'm going to. Duskbreaker, the new priest dragon. If you're holding a dragon, it deals 3 damage to all other minions. So it's a board clear for 4. Another board clear that priests need. This is wonderful because think about it. Now you don't have to worry about... Priests are so desperate for board clears. And it's a dragon, so it can go into the dragon deck that we're making for priest. And it deals 3 damage to all of their minions, but it's still a 3/3 body that you are putting it onto the board. So if this clears the board, but leaves a 3/3 body for priest, now you have board control. That is pretty awesome. This is a wonderful, wonderful addition to the priest deck. And I guarantee it'll see play. Twig of the World Tree. So the druid weapon. And its death rattle is to gain 10 mana crystals, and it has 1 attack. And it's for 4 mana. And a lot of people are kind of down on this card. And here's my thing. So, if the opponent leaves you alone, you get to decide when the gain 10 mana thing is. Now, this is also 1 attack. So this, coupled with your hero power, is 2 attack. And as we know, being able to ping any minion for 2 is not horrible, but not groundbreaking either. I feel like this is a card. This is one of those meh cards. Will this see play? Probably, maybe. Is it going to see a load of play? No. It's pretty good ramp. It allows you to... If you get to control this card and control when this card breaks, then it's a game-winning effect. But if you have to wait two or three turns, and then the opponent breaks it on his turn, and you gain maybe 2 mana crystals out of it, it's not worth it. You need to be able to gain 4+ mana crystals for this to be worth it, and it's 5 durability. And there's no other way to really break it on the Druid side. So what you have to do, like, I believe, other than like Medivh, and Medivh's going away soon at some point, but if there is a way where you spend 10 mana or spend a ton of mana and then you break this and get all your mana back, and then you get to spend 10 more. If you get to spend 15+ mana in a turn and you don't win as a Druid, you've just lost the game. Like, you've done something horrible. You've made the wrong turn. So yeah. All right. Let's move on. I could talk about this card forever. I think I'll make individual videos for some of these cards. But yeah, here we go. Rummaging Kobold. So it's a 1/3 for 3, which is utterly horrible. But it returns one of your destroyed weapons to your hand. So this gets back legendary weapons, and that's where it's at. I'm sure there'll be like 1 in a deck or something to counteract the ooze meta. And do I think this is a card that we needed? Yeah. Do I think that it's a card that's like absolutely going to change the way things are? No. Because if I pay 1/3 for 3, I mean, this is not an on curve minion. We'll say that. I mean, unless you like get your Fiery War Axe back and throw it down. I don't know. No, not even that. If you get Fiery War Axe back with this, it's just gonna make me sad. But let's move on. I don't think this card's gonna see much play, except for the fact that people are trying to make these legendary weapons work. Alright, so this is a card that is really interesting. Because I believe that this card is going to allow me to do some really extra stuff as a hunter. Because it recruits a beast, so it's going to pull it out of your deck. So, for 8 mana, if you build your deck so, you're going to get this 6/6 plus High Main, or plus that giant worm that can attack everything on the opponent's side of the board. Or say you get, let's just go for broke here and say that we include the charging blah blah in your deck, and you get this plus that guy. Should you include that in this deck? No, but say you did that, and it's a 2/5 that gives all your beasts charge. So now for 8 mana, you've gotten a 2/5 body with charge and a 6/6 body. That is good. Should this go into mid-range decks? Maybe. I mean, let's think. Say you don't get a 1/1. As long as you get something that isn't a 1/1, that's fine. But then it dies and gets you another beast. So or they have to silence it, which is interesting because battle cry's already gone off. I actually think this is a really solid card, and I think that this is going to go into what I can do to make Control Hunter work. And I actually have a very interesting idea for Control Hunter that we will talk about very soon. Branching Paths. So we choose twice. Draw a card, give your minions +1 attack, or gain 6 armor. This is going to be an inclusion in every Druid deck because there are so many things we can do with it. So say you want to draw a card and gain 6 armor. Say you want to give your minions +2 attack. Say you want to gain 12 armor. Can we do that? I don't know. I haven't played it yet. But do I think you can? Yeah. I think that this is actually going to be really strong because versatility is the name of the game for Druid, and this is probably the most versatile card that we've seen in the game so far. The fact that you can literally adapt this to whatever situation you're in. And paying 4 to draw 2 cards, it's not that bad, to be honest. Especially in the Druid line of thinking. The Ruin Spear, the worst weapon we've seen so far. I think this is Shaman. And after your hero attacks, discover a spell and cast it with random targets. It's a 3/3 for 6. Like, for 8. I'm sorry. Wow. The light was in my eyes. No, it's 3/3 for 8. Like, if man, I feel like this card can punish itself, and that's just horrible. It's a legendary weapon that can punish you for playing it. In fact, I feel like you deserve to be punished if you play this card. But, I mean, not all the legendary weapons could be good, right? Spiteful Summoner. Reveal a spell from your deck, summon a random card with the same minion cost. So this would be cool in the Tempo Mage deck, because the way you can work it out is to where it's like you only have Firelands Portals and or Pyroblasts, and then you summon a 7 cost card or a 10 cost card. But this could also be good in other decks that are like you summon a 6 cost card realistically, especially out of like Paladin. I don't think it'll be good in. I mean, it might be good in some Hunter decks. I don't know. Maybe. Most other decks you have to have lower cost spells in there. I know there's been some talk about putting this in an infestation deck, but I feel like a 6 for 4/4 that summons a 4 cost minion because Swipe is alive. I don't know. There's just too many different ways that this might not work, but in a high roll deck, this would be phenomenal. So I'm going to reserve my thoughts on this card, actually, because I'm going to mess with it until I can figure out something to do with it. Feral Gibberer. He's kind of cute, I guess. I don't know. Other than that, it's trash. I mean, it's a 1/1 that multiplies, but you still have to pay 1 for it. If it was like, after this minion attacks a hero, add a copy of it to the board, that'd be really cool, because if you could buff it, it'd be like, but then everybody would be calling it like Karibos or something. But anyway, yeah, this is a garbage card. I feel like this nerfs things. But anyway. Lone Champion, so it's a 2/4 for 3 that gains Taunt and Divine Shield if it's the only one of its kind. I mean, Taunt Divine Shield 2/4 for 3 is really good. I think that it'll find its way into certain decks, but I mean, is this better than an Ooze? Because an Ooze you can play with other things and defend something. What this is, I don't know. I give this the meh rating. Grumble the World Shaker. Return other minions to your hands, and they now cost 1. So in a Battle Cry deck, which is funny because they like tried to make battle. I feel like this card is actually like 2/3 expansions too late. Because if this card was there when we had the that elemental that did 2 damage every time a Battlecry minion came out, that would be awesome. Because then you could be like, and just start like piling Battlecries on the board, and that's like kind of when you were trying to do the whole Battlecry thing with Shaman. So maybe Wild Baby. I don't know. It's a good card. I'm sure it'll see play. It's an elemental, so we know it's going to do something cool. Elementals have a ton of battle cries that work together, and I feel like that's just great. And for 1, it lets you put this on the board, and then it's a 7/7, and then you get to be like, and play some other stuff. Zippity Doodah? Yeah. I don't know. This is a good card. I think that it's I still think it's a couple expansions too late, but It's an elemental, so I'm glad it's here now. A Temperus, your opponent takes 2 turns, then you take 2 turns. So, it'd be interesting to know if this ends your turn when you play it, because the battle cry says your opponent takes 2 turns. I don't know. It's a dragon, and if you play it and your opponent does not kill you within those next 2 turns, as a priest, you will probably win. But you're allowing your opponent to take 2 turns first. And that is where this card lies. So because of that, I'm going to reserve my judgment. But yikes. Lesser Pearl Spellstone, so the Paladin one, it summons a 2/2 Spirit with Taunt. And then, so every time you gain 3 health, it upgrades, so they'll summon more 2/2 Spirits, I guess. That's good. I feel like this is a good Spellstone. All the Spellstones are alright. I actually think that this is a very powerful card for Paladins, because you put like 2 or 3 out, and then they have to deal with them, or else you can pump them all up, and it's just another way for Paladins to fuel their board, which is something they want to do. The Lesser Ruby Spellstone, which is, I personally think, the most god-awful card they've added to this expansion, because it's something that we don't need at all, but mages are going to get it, and it's going to add random spells to your hand. And after you play 6 elementals, it's going to add 3 random spells to your hand and become that stupid tomb. And nobody can play around random spells. So here we go. This is now probably the 2nd best card you can get in Arena. And it is going to be an auto-include in most mage decks, because guess what? Elementals. So let's pretend. We're just going to use this in a random deck that isn't an elemental deck, but you're going to add 2 Fireflies to your deck. And as long as you play Firefly and the thing it makes elementals, and there you go. Now you get to add 2 random spells to your hand for 2 mana that nobody can play around, because you can't play around spells that weren't already in the deck to begin with if they're random. This is going to see play, and I'm so sad that they made this card. Lesser Mithril Spellstone. Summon 1 5/5 Mithril Golem. So you equip a weapon to upgrade it. So if you pay 7 and summon 2 5/5s, is that worth it? No, probably not. If you pay 7 and summon 3 5/5s, is that worth it? Maybe. Like, that's all I can say is maybe. This gets the meh rating of things. Multiple bodies is pretty good, but for 7, there's so many other groundbreaking things you could be doing. Zola, the Gorgon. So, you choose a friendly minion and add a golden copy of it to your hand. So you choose a minion and add a copy of it to your hand. For 3. This card will see play. This is a actually really good legendary. I mean, there's so many different things you can do with it already off the bat. And it's cool because you add a copy of it to your hand, so it's not bouncing. So if you think of all those cards that you want to bounce, like this adds another Jade to your hand. This adds another Battle Cry minion to your hand. This adds, I'm just trying to think. This works with the Rogue deck that we're currently building. This is a cool card because of all the cards that you want to bounce, but you don't take it off the board. You leave it there, so it's just adding another card to your hand. It's good. I like that. King Togwaggle. Swap decks with the opponent, and then you give them a ransom spell to swap back. So what happens is you pay 8, you put a 5/5 on the board, and then you switch decks with the opponent, so then the opponent draws a card out of your deck. But in his hand, he has a, I think it's a spell that costs 5. Don't quote me on it. It either costs 5 or 8. And then what happens is it switches the deck spec. I think it's called King's Ransom. That being said, that's forcing them to use 5 mana. You get to have a 5/5 on the board, and they have to draw a card out of your deck for that turn. So I'm sure there's some like really, really janky stuff you can do with this. Like I'm sure that there's going to be a million different like weird little things that people are going to do with this that will be really funny. And yeah. Is it going to be a regular card? No, because it's a 5/5 for 8. But it does create a lot of chaos, which I like. So, the Shadow Dancer, which is a meta-defining card in my opinion, because it is going to absolutely change the way Rogue is played. So after a friendly minion dies, you add a 1/1 copy of it to your hand, and it costs 1. So if you have a board that has a couple battle cries on it, or have a board that has a couple things on it, and you play this, or even one card that like you really would be really interesting to use. The fact that this costs 3 is very intriguing as well, because it means you can play it while playing other 1/1s later in the game. So you put this down, your board dies, or stuff on your board dies, and you get to play the 1/1 battle cries again. And this card can create so much value so quickly. And say you're able to put this down and then bounce a copy of it back with Zola, and know that you're going to have that for later. There's so many crazy things you can do that keep this going, and I'm very, very excited to see the new Rogue meta, and I believe that this is allowing it to be a thing. Explosive Ruins. So it's a mage secret. After your opponent plays a minion, deal 6 damage to it, and any excess to the hero. When you first see this card, it looks really awesome, and then you think about it more. And now the question is Mirror Entity better than this card? Because that's the overall real question, I think, for this. Because how much is Mirror Entity played? It's played a little bit. But you get a creature, and normally that creature can cancel out the creature that your opponent just put down tempo-wise. But if you play this, you don't get a body on your side of the board. And it might kill your opponent's creature. And if they put down a 1/1, maybe they take 5 damage, but like realistically, if you're using your turn 3 to play this, who cares? If you're using 3 mana to do 5, that's like you wouldn't spend turn 4 fireballing somebody, right? So the damage to the opponent actually doesn't really matter that much. Unless it's in a win more situation, in which case we don't play win more cards because we're good players. Alright, so I don't know. I actually don't think this card's that good. Raven Familiar, another card where I'm like, eh. Reveal spell in each deck. If yours costs more, draw it. Mage is the class that plays a majority of the low-end spells. Like if you revealed Arcane Intellect against a Druid, most likely the Druid might reveal Wrath, but it's the higher chance that it's going to reveal a higher card than that. So do you play this over Arcane Intellect? No. Oh well. Grizzled Guardian, Taunt, Death Rattle. Recruit 2 minions that cost 4 or less. But it costs 8. But it does have Taunt, but it's a Death Rattle. So this might see play in the whatchamacallit, in a Savage Roar deck list. And I can see this maybe bringing back Savage Roar deck list. Like, not as hard as it used to be. I mean, that was a wonderful combo deck. But But I can see this finding its way. Still though, it's 4 or less, and that or less really kills it. So because of that, this is one of those cards for the circular folder. Okay, so this is the card that I believe that everybody is going to sleep on until they realize what you can do with it. So this is Battle Cry. You gain the death rattle of a random minion in your deck. So let's think. What should we play? What could we do with this that is really great? And I'm gonna say this right now. When this whole thing comes out, I want you to watch what I'm able to do with this card. I have such a cool deck list for this card that might make that I'm gonna play it in the beginning, and I think it's gonna make the control-ish Hunter work out. So it's just something to think. If you want to talk about it in the comments below, throw me up some, throw some comments down, and let's talk about it, guys. You guys over at Hearthstone Legends, let's talk about it. I actually have a really cool deck list for this. I'm really excited about this card. I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on it. I actually think it's going to help me define a new version of what Hunter can be. And that's all I'm going to say about it right now. So, 2 thumbs up. Okay, we already did that. Uh-oh. Oh no, I don't know where that went. Uh-oh. Well, anyway, Arcane Artificer. Whenever you cast a spell, gain armor equal to its cost. This card is awesome. It's an elemental, so it's going to go into your elemental mage decks. But what's really cool is that this will allow you to play elemental control mage, which is interesting. I actually think that this is going to be really cool. I think this is a great card that mages didn't need at all, but we're going to have it now. At the end of your turn, cast a spell from your deck. So whew. Actually, I haven't seen this card yet, so it's kind of throwing me for a loop here, guys. Sorry about that. Just off the bat, I'm thinking like, see, it costs 8 though, and I'm glad it costs 8, or else this card could get out of control real fast. Man, tell me what you all think about it. I think this card is actually so it's at the end of your turn though, so it's gonna get 1 cast off no matter what. So that's its saving grace. So that it's going to get 1 cast no matter what. The problem is the target's chosen randomly, and RNG is never nice to the cards that are so you don't want Pyroblast chosen randomly, because God forbid. And you don't want Ultimate Infestation chosen randomly, because and it takes the card out of your deck, so now it's one of those cards that you know. But if it casts Flame Strike, I mean, that's okay. But you would need like a very specific deck built to play this card, and I don't think it's strong enough to have its own deck built around it. Hopefully I eat my words. Arcane Tyrant, I believe this is the last one, so it costs 0 if you've cast a spell that costs 5 or more this turn. So it's a 4/4 for 0, maybe. Or it's a 4/4 for 5. So unless this costs 0, there's no reason to have it. So if you top deck this card, it's annoying. If you don't top deck it, it has the potential to be really good. I could see this going in a Druid deck, actually. And then, so you play Nourish and then get this for free. That's really strong. Oh, Unidentified Maul. Here's the last card. So Unidentified Maul is a 2/2 for 3, and it turns into one of the following: the Purifier's Maul, which gives your minions Divine Shield; the Sacred Maul, which gives your minions Taunt, which is actually the worst one; the Summon 2 1/1 Silverhand Recruits; or the Blessed Maul, which gives your minions +1 attack. I actually think this card is too clunky to work in most decks. I'm sure people will try it out. I'm sure that it'll see some play in the beginning. but I'm sure that it will be upgraded over time, and we won't have to deal with it. Unless, for whatever reason, the Silverhand Recruit meta is a thing, and it makes me eat my words. I don't think it's going to, though. But, yeah, guys. So that's what we got so far. This is part 1 of the Kobolds and Catacombs review. Thanks for chilling and talking with me, and make sure you come down in the comments and make some of those conversations happen that I want. I definitely want to talk about the hunter deck that I've got working on. So if you want to help me theory craft it, get at me. But until then, guys, have a good one, and I'll talk to you all later. Peace.